again, I would go back to the fire, and they've this church was really uplifting for us because we, through a friend in this church, we were able to find a house that wasn't available for rent because it was falling in, but it was the only thing available. And through this friend of ours, whose father-in-law I think owned a house, he got us moved into that. We, the people in our Sunday school class then came in and helped us get that church, that house livable, and just that sort of thing is when you feel the camaraderie, the friendship, the spiritual well-being that the people in this church means to us.
With our church, if you can't find a way to serve, it's on your shoulders. Our church has several ways to serve. There's anywhere from the food pantry to the Upward program. There's something for all ages. There's a way to be involved through service with our church. There's things for every person in the congregation.
Through the church, I've been able to be part of a group that feeds the sick and the hungry. I've been able to be part of a group that helps through Mission Blitz improve community service and through requests from service agencies. I've been privileged to teach God's words to adults and children. I am able to give toys and clothes and sometimes money to the people in need. And last year, when my son died, I received an abundance of support and care from this church, which is very, very meaningful to me.
Well, the two programs that always come first to my mind is Upward and then Mission Blitz. Those are the two biggest for me. The Mission Blitz, I remember when we first joined the church, Mission Blitz is what got us here. You know, we had visited for a while, and Rhonda and I had talked. I don't even know if Rhonda will remember this, but she had mentioned before we ever came here that she wanted to be involved in a church that wanted to do things. You know, wanted to go out and not just sit and be a church. They wanted to be a church in action, in motion. So we didn't even know that the Methodist Church was that way before we got here. And then when we got here, we started attending, and then we started hearing about the Mission Blitz and the things that happens, and we got into that. And once we got into that, and then we knew that this was a place for us. Being a part, that program really helped allow us to become members or make us want to be members of this church.
While I've been in this church, I've served others through mission blitzes and mission trips. And how have I been served through this church is I've been loved like this church is my family. Like I don't have just one mother and father and two brothers. I have a bunch of brothers and sisters and a bunch of mothers and a bunch of fathers.
This is my most favorite question to answer. I think back when I think of service, I just think of all the opportunities there are to give here and to be a part of our church and to really make it a part of our life. Service to me, I remember youth club, and I think back now as a parent what that must have meant to those women and men who came every Wednesday night, served food, led a craft or a class, sat at a table with 6 or 7 youth of different ages that they might not otherwise have gotten to know.
As far as my service, certainly Mission Blitz projects have been wonderful. Teaching kindergarten Sunday school for years was a service and was a blessing for me. And of course the Costa Rica trip where, serving in a completely different culture was a blessing. But when I thought about the ways that I have been served, they've been numerous. But I especially thought about the kind of cloud of witnesses we have right here in this church. I was traveling this week and listening to a sermon on the radio, and the title of this sermon was The Strong Church. And the preacher listed many characteristics of a strong church, most of which apply to our congregation. And then he ended with a couple of challenge questions. And one was, what are you doing to make your church a strong church? And I thought that's good to think about. And then the other, even more convicting, was, if the others do as you do, would your church continue to be a strong church? Now, that's very thought-provoking, and I think we are so blessed to have so many people that I can look at and think, I want to be a church member like they're a church member.